spend much time thinking about your habits? Let's spend some time talking about that. I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen, and you can find me at elegantinnerguidance.com. We've entered the month of October, and we've changed to a new theme, and I've selected habits as our theme for October. And the reason I've done that, well, there's several things actually. First of all, I hate to remind you of this, but we've just entered the fourth quarter of the year. Amazing to think that 2013 is actually in its final quarter, but it is. So we might as well face reality. We might as well face the fact we're in our final quarter. The holidays are just in front of us, and we might as well make it the best that it possibly can be. So let's talk about our habits in conjunction with that. And also, the reason that habits have been a little bit on my mind is because I recently read a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And if you haven't read that book, The Slight Edge, I highly recommend that you go pick it up. I don't think, if you're interested in self-improvement, in living the life of your dreams, in making sure that your habits support you in doing that, I highly recommend that book. And I read it recently, as I said, and some of the principles that it talks about have been on my mind because they're so simple. It's stuff you just don't think about every day. Our habits are some of those things. They're so important, yet we don't really give a lot of time to thinking about them. We take them for granted because they're habits. We kind of do them automatically. That's why we call them a habit. We do it without thinking. And I want to use October as the month where we give some thought to what habits do we have. Are they serving us or are they not? And I wanted to kick off the month by talking about a habit that I have and continue to work on creating in my life. I have to admit, I'm not always great at this. And especially in the past, I would have to say I was less good at it than I am now and that I'm trying to be into the future. And that is the habit of celebration. And I will also admit that I'm doing this for another reason, and it's a little bit self-serving, but that's because today is my birthday. And so I want to celebrate. So today, it's my birthday's on a Monday, and it's a typical work day, but I'm thinking of maybe doing something that's a little bit not working so that I can celebrate. In the past, though, I never would have done that. I have to say, now that I'm self-employed, I'm compelled to do a little bit of work, but what I will really try to focus on today is finding time in the day where I do something that's totally out of the norm, something that I just totally enjoy, and that I celebrate. I think that it's common today to celebrate birthdays. At least the people I tend to see, they're really out celebrating and making it the most of it. It's not just a birthday, it's a birth week, it's a birth month, and they celebrate the entire time. So I say good for them. Today's my birthday and I'm going to celebrate, but I'm continuing to try to develop the habit of celebration. But not just on my birthday. That's just kind of a happenstance. But in order to celebrate the successes in our life. You know, I will admit, I was horrible at acknowledging what I would accomplish. No matter what I got done, it never mattered because, well, I was supposed to get that done. And typically that was at a time in my life when I was employed by someone. So I just had this belief, well, that's what they're paying me to do. And so when I get that thing done, well, that was just another day. Another thing I got done, on to the next thing. It really didn't matter. It didn't have much consequence to me. I was always focused on the next thing, always on the other things that were on my to-do list. But the problem with that was that there was always something more on my to-do list that I wasn't able to feel good about yet because I hadn't accomplished it. All I knew was what I did accomplish, but then I didn't allow myself to feel good about it because I kept moving on to the next thing. And I always was kind of miserable in my work because I never felt like I could get anything on my to-do list done because that's all I was ever focused on. And a to-do list is never going to be done. As a matter of fact, it exists for the purpose of never being done. Just put things on there and do them one at a time. So I gave up that habit. I actually worked with a coach, and she planted the seed in my mind that, well, hey, rather than focusing on the things that you have yet to do, Only focus on the things that you've just done and you've accomplished. So I got in the habit of every day, no matter how small, no matter how minuscule, whatever it was that I had accomplished, whatever I had set out to do, that I had gotten done, that was a small success, I was going to pat myself on the back. And I was going to acknowledge and feel good about that. And I wasn't even going to think about what was yet on my to-do list. That was going to be there tomorrow. Today, all I was going to focus on is what I got done. And I've learned to celebrate every day what I got done and not to focus on what I didn't do, because tomorrow's another day, and tomorrow's the day I'll focus on those things. And I'll pat myself on the back tomorrow for getting those things done. Today's today. I'm going to celebrate today and what I got done today. And the third reason, I want you to consider developing the habit of celebration, even beyond birthdays and successes, is because when we do celebrate the successes that we achieve each step of the way toward a bigger goal, we're actually training our brain to want more of that. So the brain is telling us, it's signaling to our bodies, give me more, and it compels us to move forward to achieve those things that are important to us in order to achieve our goals, to live our dreams, and to live the life that we desire. So celebrate. Enjoy your life. Don't just celebrate your birthday. Celebrate every day. Celebrate every success. Train your brain to want more. Give me more, as that commercial says. Give me more. The brain wants more. Celebrate. Create the habit of celebration. Thanks so much for stopping by. I've enjoyed talking about this, and I look forward to talking about more habits throughout the month of October. I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen, and you can find me at elegantinnerguidance.com. Thanks so much for stopping by.